welcome to the Life and Listings podcast. I have Justin here today. Hey, Justin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Jennifer.
Well, for the people that are listening that have not met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing.
A little bit about myself. My name's Justin Marconi. Been in the real estate industry for coming up on 11 years now. Previously was focusing solely on residential representation. Recently have taken a step back, getting myself out of the residential production side and am focusing on building out a real estate team as well as an investment company that focuses currently on buying and flipping single family residences. So eventually we'll get to building a portfolio of rentals and moving on to commercial space as well.
Awesome. Well, what made you kind of make that shift?
From the very beginning when I got into real estate, I gravitated towards working with investors. My background in college was petroleum engineering, so I'm a numbers junkie, and that side of the business made sense to me. And I've got a pretty good eye for being able to see a property and seeing the potential that it can have as far as after repair value. And quite frankly, Jennifer, this may not be good for the podcast. I just got sick and tired of dealing with people on the buyer and seller side. Too many chefs in the kitchen, and I'm a bit of a control freak, I guess you could say. And I wanted to take a bit more control. And there was one thing I did learn, or someone had told me when I first got my license and started in residential. I was taking Bold through Keller Williams, and the Bold coach said, you want to control the inventory, be a listing agent. And it's like, well, listing agents do control a little bit of the inventory, but it's the homeowners and the developers who truly hold the inventory and control that. So that's always, kind of stuck in the back of my head and wanted to start moving that direction. So finally did about a year and a half ago.
That's amazing. I mean, that's such an interesting way to think about it. Like, you are absolutely controlling the inventory if you own all the properties in the market. So where did you get started? Did you just buy one property and do it? Did you have like a group of people that were doing it together? Where'd you get started on that venture?
So my first actual introduction to it was a very, very poorly put together team. We had a money guy, his girlfriend, who was a former, a friend of mine from college. They had both expressed some interest in flipping houses. And, I was like, well, I've got a project manager in front of me and I've got a money guy in front of me and I'm a real estate agent. So put the team together and we bought the house for $80,000, I want to say 83. And then we way overspent on it. I mean, just this was not your first time flippers kind of deal. I mean, we did a complete remodel to the studs on this house. And somehow a year and a half later, we sold the property for a profit. So that was my first deal. And I believe that was in 2016. So fortunately, like I said, we didn't lose money. We made money on it. So I got paid to learn a lot of lessons, who to partner with, things to do in a property that are actually good for value and all that. So yeah, that was my first introduction to it on a personal side.
Yeah. Well, I love hearing that you way overspent, but you still made money. Because I was waiting for you to say like how much money you lost.
And I'll be honest, I think one of my partners had an accounting error. I just never brought it up. That it worked out.
They listed it out. They're like, wait a second.
It worked out later on. My money guy, that client, he's also a client. We were able to work something out on a listing that I had of his. Anyway, they're good friends to this day still. But yeah, we decided after that one, we're not going to flip houses together anymore.
I mean, so let's kind of, tell me about the team that you're building right now. You took yourself out of production. You're building a team. Tell me a little bit about that dynamic, because it sounds like you've had some partnerships that haven't worked out in the past. So tell me about what you're doing to kind of build that a little bit differently this time.
So as far as the team goes, like I think of it in like separate, segmented businesses. So as far as the team goes, I say they're separate, but there's totally over overlap between what the team members are going to do in the investment side. So with the team, basically, I'm going to train them how I was trained getting into the residential production side. They're going to be phone junkies. They're basically going to be telemarketers who just so happen to specialize in real estate. Is how I want them.
Yeah.
You know, when I first got into real estate, I joined my mother's team, and the first year at least, I was, no joke, inside of a broom closet at the KW office we were at the time, and I was making phone calls just day in, day out. I was just role playing, with a couple of other agents at our office and across the nation, and just trying to get better. Objection handling, doing mock listing and buyer presentations. So that's really the vision I have for the team, though, is just to really grow it out slowly but surely. 3 agents by the end of the year. I've got 1 agent who's already locked in, and he's going through some of his training classes through the brokerage. But yeah, really just I want to teach people how to hunt. I've seen what it looks like being on a team that spoon feeds leads to people, and that's just it's not sustainable. You tend to have a revolving door of agents when that's the structure. Yeah. And so, I want to actually teach people skills and teach them how to be proficient in this business, because that builds loyalty. If they are actually getting something of value, not just monetary value, but life value, they're going to be more loyal. And I'm already seeing that with this guy that I brought on. So now on that note, they'll be prospecting distressed properties, distressed sellers. So, we're going to have a bag of options. We can do a traditional listing, or we can, pay up front to have the home, made ready. And then you pay us at closing plus whatever the profit margin is. And then the third option is cash buyer. Here we are. Save the day.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So that's kind of where the little bit of the crossover goes, right? Like right. You're probably giving them back listings, and you're also, they're giving you properties, but they have so much more value to add, I'm sure, when they're calling, because these people are saying, yeah, I don't want to list because of XYZ. And they're like, well, I have all these options for you. Choose from my bag of tricks type of thing.
Right.
Are you seeing more of a success rate now that you have more options?
Yeah, definitely. I've done so. My partners that I currently have, the GC is one of my partners is a GC. So he and I have done this, fix it now, pay later, little deal. And we started doing that in December of last year, and we've already done 2 listings, that chose to use that service. And There was another podcast I had listened to on your show. I think it was Leonardo, the guy. He was out in on the Milk. Very, very similar business model. And he had said something that really resonated with me, was the amount of pre-qualification that he does or his agents do before going on the appointment. They pretty much know exactly what option is going to be the best option by the time they get there in person. And so that's what we're trying to do as well.
Yeah. I mean, the second you started saying that, I was like, very similar, different areas. And are you only doing, I'm assuming your team is right there with you in Houston. Are you doing flips only in Houston, or are you kind of in different areas too?
Well, Houston's kind of a weird beast. So in our MLS, we have at least seven different counties that solely feed into that MLS. And then you get these one-offs, outside. But I mean, we'll do anything from Galveston all the way out to Huntsville. We'll go Sealy to, almost Beaumont. I mean, it really just depends. We'll wholesale stuff all around Texas every day of the week. But as far as flipping, as long as it's within a 2-hour drive of the center of downtown and the numbers work, we'll do it.
Yeah. You'll make the drive because like you said, you've already kind of qualified them before you're even going. So you kind of know what you're going after before you're even setting the appointment.
Right.
Amazing. So going back to the team and how you're training them, how are you setting that up? Are you doing one-on-one training? How are you setting up your team for really high converting success on the phones?
Yeah. So one-on-one every week, we have a week or daily team meeting, which right now, with it only being one other agent, turns out to be a daily one-on-one with him. But they're on a 90-day pilot program. So that's the sink or swim period. But there's I wouldn't say hand holding, because I do want to see them either sink or swim, and either option's fine. Not like, this industry is not for everybody, and that's a difficult conversation to have with those folks, but that it's okay. So yeah, there's not a lot of hand holding, but always available for questions unless I'm on an appointment. I've been doing a lot of screen recording. Hey, here's how you run comps. Here's how you do this. Here's do that. Getting them scripts for prospecting, connecting them with other agents for role playing. And then with the newer agents, having them do a mock listing and a mock buyer consultation once a week. And then just seeing how they need to improve. And then also having them shadow me on those appointments that I go on.
You're like really setting them up for success. You're not only like really teaching them the phones, you're teaching them all the other skills so they can really be sufficient on their own. So end of this year, your goal is 3 agents. How many flips are you trying to do this year too?
So we're trying to scale out to a point where we're doing two flips a month. And well, we're at that point now where we're doing 2 a month. We got a little behind on that goal, but realistically, the goal for this year is to have 20 flips bought, sold, or bought, rehabbed, and resold. So we're at 1, 2, 3. So we're at 4 right now. We'll be at 5 at the end of the month. So yeah, we've got some catching up to do.
So you're pretty close to being on track. That's awesome. From there, what's your next step? Are you going to try to double your team next year? Or are you going to keep it lean and small?
It just depends kind of where I need to outline that a bit more, for, a year out. It was never really an intention to ever actually start a team, but there's a need for it. Like I said earlier, I've been doing this for 10 years and I am at that point where I don't have to prospect. I don't have to market online or anything like that to pick up new clients. I have a consistent flow of referrals from past clients, and I stay in touch with them like crazy. So it just, but it's taking a lot of time away from what I actually want to be doing. So it really just depends. I am actually meeting with your director of marketing tomorrow to talk about what y'all can do to help that side of my business. 'Cause I'm not a social media guy. That's not my jam at all. So if that ends up taking off and producing the results like it has for other agents that y'all done this for, then there's probably going to be a need to have more agents brought onto the team.
Yeah, but I love the form today when I'm like reading the answers to your questions. And I'm like, social media links, and you just put LOL. I was like, I
thought I'm gonna erase that. My bad. Oh man.
I was literally like prepping for the call, and I was like, that's funny. And I was like, Clarissa, please help your guy out. Like, that's so funny. All right, we're going to pivot a little bit. Okay. And I want you to share, what is the funniest thing that has ever happened to you in real estate?
Okay, I'm going to share 2 stories because I think both of them are just absolutely great. The first one, I had been an agent maybe for 2.5 years, and I'm a little bit of that ADD, ADHD, type folk. And I had shown a property and I locked my phone inside the house while the clients were still there. I'd already put the Bluetooth lockbox back up and all that. I go to, pat my back pocket and I'm like, that is not my phone. Where is it? And so that was pretty humiliating, especially because I had to call my mother because she lived very close by to that house and come and bail me out. So that was awesome. They did not buy that house, but I did get them in a house later down the road. So that's, it's all good. Second funniest thing, man, I am so tempted to name them because they're good friends. We love them dearly. Gabriel and Ashley Lopez. Love these clients to death. Love you guys. Totally going to send them the link for this interview. So they were relocating from San Diego, California. And we were looking at the house that they eventually bought. When we walked inside, it it was very evident that the homeowner was, one, a bachelor, and two, loved his safari hunts. Absolutely loved them. I mean, just had mounts, floor to ceiling, all over the house. And so, them being from California, they, he was okay. Gabriel was, okay, not my style, but whatever. Ashley, on the other hand, was a little freaked out by it, but manageable. She was able to look past it all as we started going through the house. So it was a two-story home. So we're upstairs, and Gabriel and I are in the game room, and Ashley meanders down the hallway, and we hear just this blood-curdling scream. And he and I look at each other, and we just run. We're like, oh my God, what just happened? And she's like this outside of one of the bedroom doors. We're like, what's going on? She's like, open the door. We open it, and it's a water buffalo mount in the middle of the room, and its eyes are dead on. As soon as you walk through the door, it is just staring into your soul. And it was just, it was freaky. But Gabriel and I both started just laughing our asses off. I mean, it was pretty hilarious. So yeah, had some good laughs about that, and we actually wrote that into special provisions because I called the agent up, tried to build some good rapport to get a deal going. Made the joke about the water buffalo and the floor and all that, and they thought it was hilarious that she got freaked out. So we wrote it into special provisions. Please remove water buffalo mount in the middle of the bedroom upstairs. Yeah, we ended up getting that deal under contract, and they moved in and lived there for a few years, and started their family before they relocated back to the Golden State. It was wild.
So funny. Like, having to write that into the contract is even more hilarious because you're like, this cannot stay with the house. And it's funny that the whole like lockbox with the phone thing, I did that too when I was first an agent, and I did it with my in-laws. So it was like way worse going my in-laws' house. And my mother-in-law, bless her soul, they just left for the weekend right now. She was going behind me closing all the doors. Well, my like whole system was like, I would leave everything on the center, the island in the kitchen. I would show everyone the house. And then when everyone was done, I'd like let them out of the house, and I would generally lock up at the end. Right. My lesson the hard way there. Well, she closes the door, and I'm in the front, walking them out. And I turn around, and I'm like, oh my God, my phone, the lockbox, everything is like still on the kitchen island. And I'm like, and then I'm looking at her. She's like, well, we're going to go to the next house now, right? And I'm like, no, we definitely cannot, because there's no way to get into the house now. And I'm like, looking at this, my in-laws, right? So it's like, they're probably being kind of nice, even using me to buy a house at that point, because I was a pretty new agent. And I think he had maybe just been married. And I was like, this is just the worst. Out of all the people to this happened to, it has to happen to my in-laws.
Oh, man. That's brutal. Yeah, never, ever take that phone out of your pocket or your purse, whatever. Like, keep that thing on you. Lesson learned.
Nope. 100%. I now keep my phone and, like, the keys on me at all time. Like, I never put that thing down at this point because that was awful. Like, I don't even remember how I got out of it. I mean, you called your mom, but I think I had to call the listing agent to, like, come and, like, reopen the house. I was like, the worst. Oh yeah. God. Well, okay, Justin, this has been so fun having you on. I'm so glad that you're friends of a friend connect us, and I get to talk to an amazing investor and a team lead. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, whether they just want to follow you somewhere or send you a referral down in Houston, where's the best place for them to reach you? Because we know you don't have social media, so where should they find you?
So you can actually, thank God I have a wonderful wife who keeps me straight here. You can find me on Facebook at Texas Home Heroes. That's like the DBA that we do business under. You could also email me at marconi.justin@gmail.com. And yeah, we've got a website, JM Cap Group. That is the parent company. Yeah, if you have any referrals, distressed properties, please send them my way. I'll take care of your people, and I'll take care of you on the backside too.
Amazing. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks, Jennifer. You have a good one too.